Sometimes the hardest part about baseball is the travel, I think. You had a road series last week, so you were on the road last week with the Trash Pandas. And then Brad and the boys had a road trip. They went from Jack State on Tuesday night straight to the airport to fly to Austin to play on Thursday against Texas. Just makes it hard to kind of do a pod sometimes, but I am glad we are back. Lindsay Crosby, Sonny DeShera here for the Barn Baseball Show. Brad Law will be back with us later this week when we preview this weekend's matchup against Mississippi State. But we got to talk about this Auburn team going to Austin and unfortunately dropping all three games. It was 3-2 on Thursday, 8-3 on Friday, and then 14-2 run rule loss on Saturday. Sonny, you, in your season at Auburn, you had the chance, the opportunity, the pleasure of playing a number one team at home, being at the time Ole Miss. You guys went 1-2. And then you went on the road in like late February or late April to play number one Tennessee and their house. What's the difference in facing a number one team at home versus a number one team on the road?
Yeah, facing a number one team at home definitely has its advantages because they have everything to lose and you have nothing to lose type of thing.
Yeah.
Because they're coming on your turf. And if they lose 3-0, tough environment, whatever. But going on the road and playing a number one team is just about impossible, honestly. It's especially the number one team that we had to play in 22, Tennessee. They didn't even lose 10 games that year. So, and Texas is pretty dang good too. I don't know if there will ever be a team like that 22 Tennessee team, but just having to know going on the road who you're having to play, it's almost like, man, can we scratch one out, and just try to get one game, one win somehow. Obviously that didn't happen. You get swept. It is what it is. You also sweep people. So
yeah,
it happens. But obviously the offense this week was not having a good time. That's for sure.
Yeah. And let's get into that real quick because Ike Irish just continues to be amazing. 5 for 11 on the weekend. He hits 4 of his 5 hits are home runs. So 17 total bases, strikes out twice. They didn't intentionally walk him once. Part of me thinks like after he's hit the 3rd or 4th home run of the weekend, maybe you just intentionally walk him and go to the next guy.
Yeah.
But after that, nobody else had more than 2 hits on the entire weekend. We had Derek Fabian goes 2 for 9. Bristol Carter, Bub Terrell go 2 for 10. Everybody else is 1 for 10, 1 for 11, or hitless in one game that they played. From what you were able to watch, what did you see from the at-bats? Was this just Texas pitching being really good, or is this the guys are a little bit unsettled for some reason? They got to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't – honestly, it's just tough. It's a tough weekend because – they put the ball in play. They didn't strike out more than 9 times. They struck out 9 times once and then 6 times once and then 7 times once. Yeah. So it's not like they're just going up there not giving a chance. They put the ball in play at least 20 times each game. So that's just sometimes how it goes. Like when we played Kentucky in 22, we scratched one out barely in the end of we went 1-3 against them and we scored maybe a total of 7 runs in 4 games. Gross. And that's not going to get you – that's not going to get you wins. And Auburn scored 6 runs, right? 6 runs in these games right here. Yeah, 3-2 and 2. So they scored 7 runs in 3 games. That's not going to get you many wins. But it happens. It is what it is. It's not like they were going up there striking out 15 times a game. Yeah,
that is kind of the saving grace on this. When you pull up the stats from the weekend, Auburn pitchers struck out more batters than Texas pitchers did, right? Mm-hmm. It was close, 26-25. But the point is, it was roughly equivalent. They were able to turn their opportunities into runs and Auburn was not. And this is something, I don't know, I'm kind of torn here. I feel like, one, we have a multi-week sample in conference play of some of these hitters not being able to produce like they did in the non-conference schedule. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you see flashes of guys getting out of it. Derek Fabian was struggling a lot earlier in conference play. He has the best batting average of any non-Ike Irish player on this team, going 2 for 9 over the weekend, scored a run. Auburn scored 7 runs. 4 of them were Ike Irish runs. three among everybody else. But it just feels like this offense needs a shot in the arm, and I don't know at this point what you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's tough. I'm not sure. It's just hard to say. You're playing the best team in the country. You're not supposed to go in there and have a lot of success, right? And so it's good to see even in the midweeks, we're still hitting Jacksonville State. Obviously, that was a really good game. Look, still is the home in the top of the what was that, top of the 9th, right?
Yeah.
I know. And that's 4 straight games of them scoring 4 runs or less. And it happens. It really does. But you have to find a way to win those games too. Mm-hmm. And obviously this week was just a wash. You just got to look. We're still 500 in the conference play. Nothing wrong with that. You got 9 wins. So out of 18 games, let's see, you get 4 more wins, you're guaranteed a regional. You get 6 more wins, you're hosting a regional. And so, if they go 2-3 from here on out in their last 4 series, 2-1, if they win all their last 4 series, they're hosting the regional, no doubt. And if they just win 2 of the 4, they might be hosting and they're in a regional for sure. So they're in a great spot. Like I said, you're not going to win every weekend.
I do think the RPI helps Auburn in this situation. Not to get too into the weeds for everybody, but Auburn has one of the tougher strengths of schedules this year, and I'm trying to, of course, as I'm saying that, the page is taking forever to load. According to Warren Nolan, as of time of recording, prior to Tuesday night's matchup against Georgia Tech, Auburn has the 4th toughest RPI in the country. Now, ahead of them, Georgia, Texas, Vanderbilt. It's all SEC schools.
Literally, yeah.
And the top 6 are all SEC. Arkansas, LSU's behind you. And then you get Clemson, North Carolina, Oregon State, who gets a boost from playing Auburn. And then Alabama. It's a lot of SEC schools. But you have the advantage because you scheduled some tough midweeks, right? You Georgia Tech for a home and home. Mm-hmm. Troy was a ranked team when you faced them. You had the college baseball series out in Texas. But touching on hosting a regional, I want to put this to you as somebody who got to play in a regional that you hosted and then went on the road for a super. Auburn was swept on the road at number 2 Georgia. Auburn swept number 3 LSU at home. Auburn was swept by number 1 Texas on the road. Is that pattern something we should be concerned about if Auburn does not get to host a regional, or is it when you get to the postseason, it's different than playing the same team 3 times in a weekend?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot different because when I was even at Sanford, we went to a Mississippi State regional,
right? And
we played. I think they might have been the number 2 or 3 team in the country at that time.
They were pretty high, yeah.
Yeah,
I remember that.
And so the good news was we only had to play them once, and that's the same thing. Like obviously, when you get to a super, it's just different implications. It's not just a regular season conference matchup. You're playing to keep playing. If you lose, you go home, and so you get caught up in that. Unfortunately, right now we're in the dead middle of the season, right? So I would honestly get to the back half. So it's just the repetition, and the days are getting the same, and the guys are just starting to get ready to play for something now. And they put themselves in a good spot. They're 9-9, so it's definitely different in a postseason setting. They're not like when you have to go play at Georgia's boombox of a stadium, and they just hit home. They're leading the country in home runs for a reason. Yeah. And then you have to go play a really hot Texas team who can pitch it really well and swing it. It is what it is. And then when somebody comes to your place and you got your own elements, you didn't have to travel. It's just different.
You have real grass and not turf.
Yeah, literally.
For real.
Yeah, Texas and Georgia turf, yeah.
Yeah, both of them had turf. And obviously ground balls play differently there, right? Like you can do different things offensively, and you have to be crisper and faster defensively. And this is a good defensive team, but I do feel like that changes the way you play when you practice all year on grass and you play on turf. To the point of Auburn hosting a regional, D1 baseball as of Tuesday morning, the national seed rankings, they have Auburn at number 6. So that would be, you are, obviously hosting a regional. They did move them down slightly after getting swept by Texas, obviously, but they have them as a top 8 seed. So you would host a regional, and if you advanced, you would be guaranteed a super. Now, a lot can change, a lot of stuff going on, but you feel like that's okay. I do think, bringing it back full circle before we get into the pitching, I do think that getting the offense going is crucial if you want to maintain that seeding and qualify for the postseason and be able to host at Plainsman Park, simply because, I mean, you can't have you hit 170 this weekend. Yes, Texas has good pitching, but you hit 170 this weekend. This is not the only weekend you've hit below 200 as a team in conference play. And it's something Ike Irish alone, like some teams will not be afraid to just walk him and make the next guy beat you.
Yeah, seriously.
And I feel like this weekend, nobody was really willing to do that.
But yeah, because I mean, Ike, obviously he started off really tough, really struggling. And so now he's just kind of the past, what would you say, like 4 weeks, 3-4 weeks, he's really found his swing.
Oh yeah.
And
since coming back from injury, he's been fantastic.
Yeah. And I think going forward, teams are going to be more cautious now, like especially not playing Mississippi State this weekend, but Tennessee and then the May 2nd to 4th weekend at Tennessee, just with how they pitched me and how they're going to handle him, because they know their field's tiny and they know how it plays, especially to right. So, I mean, if we got to get these guys going these next 4 games so that they will pitch to him, and like they don't have a problem like having to throw to Ike because they got somebody else behind them. So it's gonna be really important getting them going. They got 5 games until then.
There you go. Yeah. Real quick recap on the conference stats. Brad and I talked about this, I think, a week ago while you were out. Auburn now has 4 guys batting over 300 in conference play. Ike's obviously leading at 417. He also has 8 home runs in conference play, which is wild. Chase Freilich at 317, Chris Rimbert at 304, Bristol Carter at 302. Given the injury issues we've seen from Cade, does this feel like we've gotten to the point? Because we've had a lot of like Ike in right, Bub in left, Cade in center. With Bristol Carter now batting 300 in conference play and Cade still being a little banged up because of the shoulder, is this something where you've got to play Ike more behind the plate so you can keep Bristol in the lineup?
I think so. Like obviously, because Bristol's putting it on for the conference play, especially when you're struggling so much as a team in conference play. Like you said, hitting 170 at multiple weekends and on a weekend is pretty tough. Like you're not going to win many games doing that. And like it does happen, right? And you're going to win some games doing that. It's just how baseball is. But yeah, I think that's something where Ike's got to get behind the plate to open it up, because Freilich can do whatever. He can DH, he can catch, he can do whatever. But yeah, you got to open it up for Bristol for sure.
Yeah, just got to. And then I think I need, just me personally, my thoughts here, I need somebody to step up as a power threat outside of Ike. Yeah. Ike has 8 home runs again in conference play. The entire rest of the roster combined has 11. And I don't think I realized it was that bad until I pulled the stats just now for conference play. Shout out to George for sending those over to us yesterday morning. I don't think I realized it was that bad until today. Somebody needs to step up as a power threat and give you quality at-bats in the threat of the long ball so that's not just Ike. They can't pitch around Ike. Like, because again, Texas didn't try to over the weekend. They went after Ike and he made him pay, but somebody else is going to make the rest of the roster beat him or beat them, and somebody got to step up. Who in your mind is the guy that they need to get going the most? I don't want to put you in the spot by making you call somebody out, but just who needs to get going?
I mean, it's not really even calling anybody out or anything, but I know Coop wants more than anything to be like what he knows he can be every day. So got to have Coop, because he's hitting behind Ike. Yeah. So now if they stop pitching to Ike, then Coop comes up with a runner on first. Let's say they start like just pitching around Ike. Coop's going to come up with a runner on first 60% of the time maybe. And now he's got to do something with that. And so hopefully that gives him some confidence to get it going. Obviously, you got to have Snow. Snow's got to be getting on base, the leadoff guy too. And we just got to find somebody else just in the back of the half of that order just to get it rolling. But, it's just a bug. It is what it is. It happens. And you got to figure out how to get out of it. Like the same thing in 22. Like that Kentucky series really drained us, because we go on the road, lose 2 out of 3, and then play them in the conference tournament, lose 2-1. And we're just like, oh my God, can we even hit anymore? And all this stuff. And we thankfully we figured it out by playing each other, scrimmaging. But these guys are lucky enough that they still have a lot of time until regionals and the postseason and everything to figure it out. And so there's no problem. I mean, I think that Tennessee series, I think Mississippi State is going to be a good reset for them. They're going to go and handle business, and then the Tennessee series is going to be another high leverage matchup where they're going to show up and show out.
Absolutely. All right. In just a second, I want to get to the pitching, kind of talk about what we saw over the weekend. Sam Dutton was, again, fantastic, but we'll break all of that down next. Welcome back to the Barn Baseball Show. Lindsey Crosby, Sonny DeShera. Brad Law's back with us later this week. And I felt like Auburn pitching, for the most part, followed the same game plan. It just didn't work out as well as it has in previous weekends. Sam Dutton was, again, fantastic. 5 2/3 innings, only 2 runs allowed, no walks. I want to say it's the 3rd or 4th weekend he's made a start and not walked anybody. 6 hits allowed. Only one of those hits was an extra base hit. It was a double. But outside of that, for your starters, right? Cade Fisher, just Andres Alvarez, everybody else seemed to really kind of struggle this weekend. Is that just facing a good Texas team? Like, it's a number 1 team in the country. They're going to do things like this to you from time to time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, like Dutton's obviously been nails all year. So he kept doing his thing. He throws strikes. And obviously with Fisher and Andreas doesn't have the experience, right? And then Fisher, he's kind of been limited all year. It is what it is. It's the number 1 team. They hit like Fisher. It's not like he was out there walking guys. They had 6 hits, 4 runs. And then Andreas, they had 5 hits, 5 runs in the first. So they just hit. It is what it is.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, I think, is looking at these starters, Alvarez, Fisher, and Dutton combined for 1 walk. Like they just they put the ball in the zone, they made you beat them, and unfortunately it happened a little bit with some of these starters. I'm at the point now, and just you've seen some of this too. I think you told me earlier in the year you faced him once. Cam Tilley has pitched in 11 games for you. And I feel like other than 1 or 2 outings, he's been pretty solid. At what point, I know he's had some walk issues. He's walked 12 in like 8 in 24 innings, so 1 every other inning. At what point do you consider giving Cam Tilley a start? Or do you just say his best versatility or utility is attaching him to one of these starters and saying, hey, when that dude's done, you're going to go pitch 2 or 3 innings?
Yeah, I think his role is solidified for sure in that come in and shut it down role. It's a little too deep in the season. Maybe next year we might see Tilley as a starter, but I think it's a little too deep in the season to change somebody whose role has been so good at what he's doing out there and stopping. Like he reminds me of a skipper. He goes out there and he just stops and holds the game and just kind of controls it from there. And I think that's his role. That's what it's going to stick as. Yeah,
and against Texas, he faces 5 batters, 1 hit was a single, 2 strikeouts, no walks, right? Kind of, he's gotten better on that. Auburn pitching only walks 8 guys over the weekend. Problem is, Texas pitching only walks 7 on the weekend. So it's a lot of like, we're throwing strikes, you got to hit them, and Texas did a better job of doing that. I want to get back to Sam Dutton real quick because I want to know, you're one of the more accomplished hitters to come through Auburn. How would you try to attack Sam Dutton when he's on the mound and you're in the box? Have you faced him, by the way?
No, I haven't. Well, I faced him actually his freshman year at LSU.
Okay.
Obviously, different pitcher. He started on Sunday.
Different pitcher then. But, I'm going to go find that while you tell me how you're going to do it. I'm going to go find that one.
I had a double off the right center wall.
You're like, I know. You're like, I already know what I did. Nice.
I mean, he just throws strikes, man. He's a hard guy because you can't go up there sitting on one thing, right?
Right.
Because one at bat he could throw you this, the next at bat he could throw you that, and it's not like it's just going to be over the plate. So, off a guy like him, you just got to sit on one part of the plate, and if he beats you on the other part, it is what it is. You got to tip your cap and keep rolling. And people haven't adjusted to him, which is good to see. Yeah,
it's been I was worried that as a former reliever converting to the rotation that he'd fall back into those 2-pitch habits. Let me do the same thing to get guys out every time, and how he would do with multiple facing guys multiple times in the same game. And other than that first outing where I felt like he kind of got back to those reliever habits that first weekend, other than that, he's been a well-rounded 4-pitch guy. He's attacking you. He's sequencing really well. Obviously, some of that's the catchers, right? Auburn calls these games live on the field. They don't do it from the dugout. But for the most part, if you're picking like a pitching MVP of the year at the right past the midpoint of conference play, it's got to be Sam Dutton, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's undeniable. He's been the guy he's been that solid Friday guy. Like I said at the beginning of the year, we got to have that Friday guy that's gonna go out and give you a chance every Friday, and he has.
And then you just build the whole rest of the weekend around knowing that guy's going to go out and give you 5 or 6 innings. You'll still be in the game when he's done. Build the whole rest of the thing around that.
Yeah, like I mean, he went against Texas, gave 5 2/3 2-run baseball. So that's all you can ask for. And then obviously Myers goes out and gives up that homer, which that happens too, right? Yeah. But then Texas just has a closer that's unbelievable. That the Valentis guy, the lefty. Yeah, I mean, it looked like he was throwing 110 miles an hour.
It really did.
And he came out back-to-back nights and got saves back-to-back days. So, like, that's crazy.
That's some Berkey type stuff there.
Yeah. Oh, no, he didn't get a save. He didn't get a save second day.
No, he didn't know.
Yeah, but still.
What to say? But yeah, still, he shut the game down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some Berkey type stuff. And I do think Auburn's staff did a good job of not allowing home runs. I want to say Texas hit maybe 5. Auburn hit 4, obviously all from Ike. But again, they did a good job for the most part of keeping the opposing hitters at bay and not letting them do too much. I want to say Cade gave up a couple extra base hits. Like that was the one thing I think that I kind of got a little bit not frustrated by, but just a little bit. That's when I started to say, okay, I'm a little bit concerned about this one. Simply, I think he got tagged for 3 doubles, no homers, but like 3 doubles. All of the homers came off of either a reliever or Andreas Alvarez in game 3, that 5-run first inning that he had. But it feels like this staff can compete with just about anybody. Is there one guy that we need to see more of? Like we got Mason Koch made his debut over the weekend. We saw that. Like, is there one guy? Parker Carlson finally came back, pitched 2/3 of an inning. Now he's been down with some soreness. What's who's the one guy that we need more of that we haven't gotten yet?
Yeah, I mean,
pitching staff, right?
Because the staff.
Hayden Murphy feels like, I mean, at this point, like you've got to have him. Like he's got to be able to do something. He came out, didn't record an out, 4 runs, 2 earned on 2 hits and a walk. I'm past concerned about that situation, but there's somebody needs to step up in the pitching staff, and who is it?
Exactly. I mean, honestly, I don't even know. I'd like to see Murphy, like you said. I'm not sure what's been going on. He maybe he's dealing with some different type of things stuff-wise, but obviously he's the power arm that you need. And Parker coming back's huge. That helps out big time.
Friend of the show, Parker, shout out.
Yeah, there we go. And it looks like they've been using Johnny Armstrong more as like a one out, one batter guy this year, which, it's a different role from what we've had in the past from him. But as long as he keeps going out there and just getting out of the inning and cleaning it up, that's all you can ask for too. So, I mean, it's just more about getting Parker back, because Parker, I feel like, sets the tone of that bullpen. He's the leader. He's the senior. So just having him back helps. Yeah,
with John, he faces one batter this week and gets I think it was a ground ball out, ends the inning, done. Gets out of a jam. And I've long kind of said that's obviously the best way to use him is to go get ground balls when you need that. But I do think Auburn has had an over-reliance in the past on asking him to go back out for another inning, or maybe even going out for a third different, he has two ups. And he ends up, the stuff fades a little bit because of the up and downs. And so while I would be fine if they wanted to let him pitch the next inning, at the very least, I do think, hey, go get us a ground ball. I'm amazed at this point how little they've used him compared to previous years. I mean, I think he's thrown 12 1/3 innings this year, when there was at one point last season, it felt like he was the most used reliever and had one of the highest he had pitch counts high, or not pitch counts, inning counts higher than some of the starters.
Yeah, crazy.
Just kind of really backed off him a little bit there. Okay, so tonight, Auburn takes on Georgia Tech. This is obviously kind of a rematch. They're doing the home and home thing. Auburn went to Georgia Tech. I'm looking for that old game. I want to make sure I get it right. They went to Georgia Tech after the Alabama series. They won 9-8. Expectations for this team tonight. You're coming off a tough weekend series. You've got another tough weekend series coming up with Mississippi State, but you can't overlook Georgia Tech. Like, how hard does Auburn push to get this win tonight?
Yeah, it definitely bounce back win. It's going to be all hands on deck, I think, tonight for sure. They're definitely salty from the weekend, so I'd feel bad to be Georgia Tech coming in here, but Auburn's got to bounce back today. Whether they win or lose, it's got to be something's got to show,
Yeah, I do think not that Auburn would ever punt a midweek game, but I do think that this is specifically one you can't do that for because it's at home and the extra impact losing those home games has on your RPI. Even a top ranked team. This is a number. What is this? 21 Georgia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
Christian Chatterton's the starter here. I think moving to the midweeks has been good for him. Yeah. We kind of talked about this when they first announced him as a midweek guy. I had the theory that getting him off of the weekend into the midweek and out of that conference strike zone would help his stuff, just help him be a little more confident about being able to land stuff for strikes. And since they did that at Georgia Tech, 3 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 run. I think he walked 1 and struck out 2 in that one. And then Jack State, 6 innings, 2 runs, both of them unearned on 1 hit, no walks, 8 strikeouts. It feels like this may have been the change you need, but I don't necessarily think you move him off of the midweek. He probably sticks with the midweek. If nothing else, he'd be lined up to be a guy for you in Hoover if you need it on a Tuesday.
Yeah, for sure. He's gonna be that 4th starter that you need for the regionals and the supers. And I think him pitching these last 3 midweeks, I would for him, he'll go here and then Sanford and then JSU for the last one. It's going to be big time for him for his development, for his future, right? It's not he obviously he struggles in the SEC, he struggles with that strike zone, and so why not let him find his stuff right now?
Yeah,
and get it going in those midweeks and get him ready for the near future of the regional and the super and the SEC tournament. So SEC tournament single elimination now, so it's going to be played a lot differently.
Yeah, I mean you have to pull a guy early if he's struggling. You have you can't afford a loss because obviously, like you said, you lose, you're done, and everybody makes it. So it's not a situation where you're going to have to play plenty of games if you get there. I think I saw the seeding, and Auburn would be, as of now, maybe it was the highest seeded team that would have to play on day 1.
Okay.
Right? Everybody ahead of you has buys, but you would have to play on day 1. And so you'd be playing, if you go all the way through, you'd be playing 5 straight games, 5 straight days, something like that.
Is it the top 4 seeds get a bye?
I think I believe it was the top 4. Yeah. And I think they had you at 5, or maybe it was the top 6 and they had you at 7. I saw somebody put the bracket out on social media. I can't find it right now, but it was something like that. Yeah.
I saw that too. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's Auburn was the highest seeded team to not get a bye.
Yeah.
So that's why every game matters. You got to get this done. Okay. So again, just to remind everybody, Auburn hosts Georgia Tech tonight at 7 p.m. They're back in action this weekend on Friday to host Mississippi State. It's a themed weekend, Tiger Dega Nights. So they're channeling some NASCAR stuff with Talladega Nights and everything with Tiger Dega Nights. Real quick before we go, Sonny, what was your favorite promotion your season while you were here at Auburn? Or did you guys even pay attention to those?
No, I don't even remember. I don't even remember at all.
Right. I mean, it's one of those, I guess, you guys aren't getting the giveaways and all of that stuff. Auburn's had some crazy stuff this year. The light up cowboy hats, the umbrella hats. They've had some weird, some goofy but fun promotions this year. I just remember, from your season, getting the pennant. Y'all had the 1997 College World Series pennants you gave away in your season. And then after your season, they gave away your College World Series pennant.
Oh, that's cool.
But the year we gave it away, Auburn didn't make the College World Series like they did in yours. I'm like, okay, this is the season to give away those pennants.
Yeah.
So we get the omens of another trip to Omaha.
Exactly.
Okay. Real quick before we go, because I'm thinking about that. Have your expectations for what this Auburn team can do or should do in the postseason, have they changed from the beginning of the year? Because I think I'm at the point now, I thought that they could host a regional, but I think at this point, I'd be a little disappointed if they ended up not getting one of those 16 spots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The weekend at Texas, right? And the weekend at Georgia, the sweeps, those hurt. But to somehow be 9-9 in the SEC after getting, if you get swept,
SEC,
if you get swept twice and you're still 9-9, you're still 500 in conference play. That's incredible. That should show you That should show the fans like what this team is capable of. And so, I mean, no, the expectations haven't changed. Like I said at the beginning of the year, this team's not going to be a team that blows people out. They're going to be a team that wins close games. And they played 2 close games against Texas, right? And they were just on the wrong side of each of them. And that happens. That's baseball. Yeah. So the expectations still haven't changed. They should be hosting without a doubt.
Yeah. This has been the Barn Baseball Show for Tuesday, April 22nd. We're back later this week. Brad Law will be joining us then. But for Sonny DeShera, I'm Lindsey Crosby, and this has been the Barn Baseball Show.